Good evening and welcome to the NFL draft. By NFL, I mean one gorilla versus 100 men. So this whole one gorilla versus 100 men question has turned into probably one of the greatest icebreakers of all time for the week. Simultaneously, the NFL draft just happened. I'm one of those weirdos who like to watch it. I like getting my hopes up in the offseason as a Jets fan, just to feel the visceral experience of my heart being ripped out by week 4. Anyway, the first time this question was posed to me, I thought, easy. Humans will win. A gorilla can technically kill maybe 5 people at a time, which is a lot, you know. 1 guy in each arm, 1 guy in his mouth. 95 more people after that. They could just swarm him like some killer bees. They just start gouging his eyes out, giving him wet willies, tickling him under the armpits. Then the pro-gorilla takes started coming in. Do you know how freaking strong a gorilla is? I said, well, it's about 2 to 3 times the weight of an adult human. He's got to be maybe twice, 3 times as strong as a human. 1 second, don't go anywhere. Welcome to the land of Bing. Microsoft Edge has become my favorite browser. They default to Bing, not Google. In some ways it's awesome. In every single other way it's inferior. But anyway, silverback gorilla on average is 4 to 9 times stronger than an average human. And when I was doing weightlifting competitions, you wanted to lift twice your body weight, maybe 3 times as far as deadlift, squat. When you were training just in high school, you were considered strong to get benchmarked to be able to lift at least your body weight and bench, squat, you know, everything was just like a little rule of thumb. The weakest gorilla is stronger than the strongest human. So just because a human is 400 pounds and say a gorilla is 400 pounds, they are not equal strength. Also, they are almost entirely quick twitch muscle fibers. Some of our most quick twitch muscle fiber sports like Olympic lifting, American football, only the freakiest of the freak humans with a lot of quick twitch muscle fibers can have a chance at success in those sports. They don't hold a candle to a gorilla. So then I started thinking we might need all 100 slots on the roster to get this job done. So I started thinking, who would I draft? Because let's be honest, not going to be many volunteers. Even the most confident pro 100 human people, oh, humans got it. I'd be hard pressed to see any of them volunteer themselves. They'd probably say 100 Brock Lesnars, we got a chance. Well, I wanted to make this 99% realistic. There's only 1 Brock Lesnar. So I'm setting this up in waves. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and wave 4. Now, everybody agrees the first wave, they're probably going to be your recon group, if you will. The finest cannon fodder that planet has to offer. So in my mind, that meant death row inmates. I'm going to start dragging them in. Welcome to wave 1, lucky winners. These are the likes of Ted Bundy, known for his charisma and intelligence. Bundy led a double life, which masked his horrific crimes. Wonderful. With his charisma and intelligence, you might be able to unlock some hidden dialogue trees with the gorilla. John Wayne Gacy, guy in the clown suit, convicted of murdering at least 33 young men and boys. He likes picking on people smaller than him, which gives him an edge because he's going to be smaller than the gorilla, and he's been researching that field for a lot of his adult life. People like Eileen, Jeffrey Dahmer, Richard Ramirez, Charles Manson, the Hall of Famer himself, Henry Lee Lucas, David Berkowitz, aka the Son of Sam. This is the one serial killer. I actually knew who he was since I was a child. When I was coming up, a lot of films were set in New York City, a lot more than today, and a lot of those films referenced the so-called Son of Sam. According to this article, he's also the 44 caliber killer. I assume that means that no 44 caliber was safe when he was around. There's Gary Ridgway, Dennis Rader. Apparently Dennis Rader was known as the BTK killer. First of all, BTK is a very popular name for these types of things. There was a gang in New York a little bit before my time. It went by BTK. Kind of messed up the whole Asian gang situation in New York. Different topic. In the case of Dennis Rader, his acronym stood for Bind, Torture, and Kill. That sounds like an epic punk rock band's name. And so you may notice that there's 25 slots on this roster, but we only have 10. The next one is this picture that was never meant to be viewed this small. So I'm sure we've all heard of the Suicide Squad. But did you know that was a real thing? Unit 684. For those of you Korean historians, this may sound familiar to you. They were a black ops group who were trained for direct action, irregular warfare, long-range penetration, winky face, and special operations. So they were formed to assassinate the North Korean leader at that time, Kim Il-sung. This was in retaliation for the North's botched Blue House raid. Not going to get into the details, just telling you what it is. So this unit consisted of 31 civilian recruits, mostly criminals, death row types, unemployed youths, and they went through 3 years of harsh training on an island off the coast of Korea to accomplish this mission. It's actually a crazy story. There's a movie about it and everything. The South Korean government kind of changed its mind right before the mission, and they actually decided to exterminate their own unit. And these petty criminals, unemployed youth, they did everything that was asked of them. And then now they're being betrayed by the government that sort of gave them this chance, and some crazy shit ensued after that. They fought for their own survival. It was some movie shit for real. In my opinion, the real story is probably crazier than the movie. But anyway, that was a 31-person unit. Just pick the best 15, stick them in here. Now, these are people who got nothing to lose. Much like the spirit of Unit 684, we'll basically gonna tell these guys, listen, you're on death row. Your life's over anyway. If you can pull this off, you're free to go. I'm throwing in a wild card here. A little party buff, if you will. This quartz crystal looking thing, that is not a quartz crystal you're going to find in a crystal shop. This broken vial of baking soda, once again, you will not find this in the baking aisle of your preferred grocery store. This substance is a substance that has gained popularity for when a human is on it. We'll just call it what it is. You're going to change a letter, math. When you're on math, you see cops tase these people and they just keep coming and coming. It's like they don't feel anything. It's like less than a mosquito bite to them. This is called TNT. I've seen multiple articles growing up about the infamous Florida men who partake in this and they end up eating each other and they just feel no pain. It's insane. It like zombifies people. This cast of characters, we're gonna give them the freedom of choice to pick one. You give them that little extra buff for this raid boss. Now, I know what you're thinking. No, I'm not sponsored by math. I bought this with my own money for your viewing pleasure. Alright, so let's say that Wave 1, not successful. Wave 2 was able to sit back, watch what happened, collect intel, come up with some strategies. So these people are going to be a little bit more strategic minded, and they're going to be our best athletes. Got this picture from a list of the top strongmen, bodybuilders. There's a list of like 10 or 12. He's going to represent all of them. We're going to put in Brock Lesnar. We're going to put in this guy I found from Google Images. We're going to put in the New Zealand All Blacks rugby team. Look up some highlights, you'll understand why. And Khabib. I know Khabib is tiny, but people joke that he wrestles bears for training and whatnot. The off chance that's true, I'm sticking him in there. So this situation, they're athletes, they're disciplined. Some of them are elite at teamwork, but all of them are elite in physical fitness. Now granted, everything that a human can be good at physically, a gorilla, barring endurance, is going to just be way better. The weakest gorilla even. But we're betting on the first 25 zombies at least deal some kind of at least bleed damage, or at least gather some intel on how this particular gorilla likes to KILL. And these guys are going to come in there and sort of give our real good first effort. So in the tragic event that Wave 2 fails, first of all, the landscape of rugby will be changed forever, but also we're going to need our third wave. These are going to be like your FBI, CIA, Navy SEAL guys. I want to put in SEAL Team 6. Before I go on, you're going to notice my tactical genius at work. Wave 1, some of our best unhinged killers. Second wave, some of our best trained, not killers, but athletes. Wave 3, the best of both worlds, trained and at killing. Now, SEAL Team 6 is not going to fill every spot on the roster, so we're going to pad the roster with basically any Pacific Islander I could find. This is a picture of some of the Usos in SOS. You know about gang culture, you already know what that is. Because I didn't want just any Samoans. I wanted Samoans who were down. So why Pacific Islanders? Here's a couple of stats. Tonga, Fiji, Samoa. If you are from one of these types of places, you are disproportionately likely by a lot to end up in the NFL. I also learned something in college about some of the traits that different ethnic groups got from evolution or whatever. Each group actually seems to excel at something different. East Asians seem to excel at strength and power. That's why the fastest guy under 60 meters is a Chinese guy. Olympic strength and Olympic lifting events, it's just flooded with Asians. East Africans, elite at endurance. West Africans, they have the same muscle type as the Asians, but their body structure is longer limbs compared to torso. So the sports that they excel at kind of reflect that. NBA, NFL. Europeans, kind of right in the middle. Not S tier in one, but like A tier in both. You look at Southeast Asians and Hispanics, a little bit lower on the structure and quick twitch muscle fibers, but they're great at endurance. If you've ever seen the best Mexican boxers, it just looks like they can go 50 rounds. And all these traits were earned throughout time through various earth shit, like being the surviving tribe of a huge epidemic, things like that. But Pacific Islanders are the only ethnic group in the entire earth to evolve their traits strictly from warfare. They are literally what we think the Spartans are. They were literally bred and born for warfare, battle, survival. And Pacific Islanders have the S tier traits of everybody and nothing less than that. They are basically the elite killing machine physically. So I just stuck a whole bunch of them in there. So in the event that Wave 3 fails, well, let's be honest, we're not really going to top that. So I've collected a team of just the biggest gorilla haters. These first 5, I basically Googled the main villains of Donkey Kong. These people, they don't care what the odds are, they're going to go for it. It's just how they've been programmed. It's just in the game code. I also threw in these airplane pilots who were fighting King Kong. They didn't care. They just flew to their death. This is basically your go out with a bang wave. Think of the Alamo. If you heard of America sort of colonizing Japan, forcing their trade policy open, you know that story? They basically landed in Japan, played baseball at them, shot some cannons, just basically flexed their muscles. And Japan was kind of in peacetime at this time, so they were like, all right, we agreed to all your terms. A few years later, they landed in Korea to try to do the same. Koreans, they basically said, no, this is our country, get out. And then they played baseball at them, shot some cannons, and showed their technology. They had rifles, Koreans had swords. They might have had a couple of like really, really old like prototype rifles. There was like 5 or 20 or something Koreans and like hundreds of American soldiers. And these like few Koreans basically just stood their ground and they just went after the American soldiers as they were invading with their swords and shit. And you could see how that ended. The U.S. marched all the way up to the Emperor's palace, put down the contract, sign it so you can hand over the trading rights or whatever. The Emperor actually refused, which I think is just so badass after all 10 of his soldiers died. And so they just like forged his signature and then they just did it anyway. So this is basically our Koreans of the 1800s or something? Yeah, this is that spirit of a wave. But we can't fade into the night in utter silence and a whimper. This is the marching band from SpongeBob SquarePants. They're not going to be fighting, they're just going to be standing in the back, basically playing the funeral music. So anyway, this is my NFL draft. In my opinion, it's pretty perfect. I think it's the most well thought out. It takes the best of everyone's takes from the pro-human side. But anyway, this is a sort of a new growing channel. Well, this channel has been here since damn near as long as YouTube has been, but I've only been posting here recently. You know, it's still growing, so if there's something that you think is stupid or something that you change, leave a comment below. Tell a brother what's up. But if not, just promise me you're gonna have a good day, you're gonna be present, you're gonna be kind to yourself. Diving deep once again, motherfuckers. Peace.